Okay, let's be honest for a moment. There are very few possible scenarios for the end of the planet. An asteroid wipes out humanity, a disease kills us before we can find a cure, and then there are zombies. Though zombies may seem completely imaginary, recent events have taught us that this is all a question of perception. As such, you should probably be aware of some decent hiding places in case the undead decide to make an appearance. So here are 10 zombie-proof houses you'll regret not seeing. Number 10. This safe house, built by the architectural firm KWK Proms, is situated in a small village on the outskirts of Warsaw, Poland, and was intended to give its occupants the highest level of security. When the two-story concrete monolith home was finished in 2009, it featured a beautiful indoor swimming pool, which is a good thing because, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, it's better to be safe than sorry, and approximately 6,100 square feet of spacious living area with floor-to-ceiling windows and panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. When you see it in its most basic form, you might be wondering, where's the safety in this? Well, the answer is right inside the walls themselves. Because they are movable, you can arrange them to meet your specific security needs. For example, you can use them to outline a zone where you want to make sure your kids don't go off the property, or you can arrange them so that they completely enclose your house, leaving nothing visible to the outside world except for a huge gray block. To be clear, you'll be able to open windows via the removable walls, which allows you to reconnoiter the area before you open everything else again. The siding walls are not dependent on the form of the building, and as you can see in the pictures, the house itself is well away from some of the front walls. This gives you plenty of options as to how to build your house, if you so choose, and how to use the walls to ensure that the zombies don't get in. Before we go on, like this video, hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Thanks! Number 9. There's a lone white house on the side of a green hill facing the wild Atlantic waves on a remote deserted island just off of Iceland's south coast. It appears to be the most remote home in the world, and that alone is enough to make it zombie-proof if you think about it. The fact that there will be a lot of people to avoid if the zombie apocalypse occurs in a city is one of the reasons it is so horrible. But that's a different story entirely if you're alone on the island, isn't it? There wouldn't even be zombies for you to deal with. The big mystery here is who lives on the island in that house. There are rumors that singer Björk owns it, but those rumors would eventually be disproven. Still, you have to wonder who would be willing to go and live on an island like that alone, as while privacy may be guaranteed, getting supplies wouldn't be the easiest of tasks. Number 8. The next location is in Honduras. As you can see, someone there obviously planned ahead for the zombie apocalypse, or perhaps they just wanted a cool spot on an island. Regardless, it actually works. To put it simply, since you're on an island, you won't have any problems with people turning into zombies, unlike at some other entry, because the only people on the island are you and whoever else is with you at the moment. Secondly, being on a small island means that there is no way for anyone to discreetly observe you unless you employ some very serious special forces style tactics, such as swimming up in scuba gear or something similar. Third, how can one go to such an island rock? If you closely examine the image, all you will see is a small dock, which indicates that a boat needs to be anchored there. This is important because there isn't much space for growth on the rock, so that boat might be your only means of obtaining supplies. The best part is that you are now arguably living in a villa, which is fantastic. It's also smart and practical since you can host your family and friends there and not have to worry about loneliness or boredom. You can also use everyone as a rotating force for supply assessment and recon security. Number 7. The Atlas Nuclear Missile Control Center was decommissioned and is now a residence for buyers who value maximum security and can afford to pay a six-figure sum. This is not for people like us who sometimes struggle to make ends meet, but don't worry, we won't feel left out and we can exact our revenge when we're all zombies. To be fair, that will be difficult for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that this was built during the height of the Cold War in the 1960s, and they took it seriously because they were anticipating a nuclear attack at the time. Although it may appear to be a simple house, it is quite well defended against underground threats, and the open land you will have allows you to take risks with activities like farming and other long-term survival strategies. I do advise installing a fence. There have been more paranoid periods than the Cold War era, but that just indicates that they placed a higher importance on defense and surviving the worst-case scenario. It also suggests that you would be relatively secure from zombies during that time. Number 6. The best way to survive the apocalypse, as various zombie properties have shown us, is not to just stockpile ammunition and fuel, as they will eventually run out, Instead, you need to get creative and try to ensure that the zombies just don't get to you in the first place. What if I told you that there was a practically foolproof way of making that happen with a home without having to make it a fortress? You might wonder, so allow me to show you a cliffside home. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like, a house, or sometimes a collection of houses, built specifically to be perched on a cliff. What's more, you might be surprised at how intricate and in-depth these things can get. For instance, I've found one cliffside house where you can drive your car onto the roof before it descends to the first floor to be parked. Why is this brilliant solution a good one to keep the zombies away? All it is zombies. With these homes and cliffs, the majority of them lack higher brain function. Instead, they rely primarily on instinct and certain sensory information. They are unable to accomplish tasks like opening doors or using specific objects to gain access. Most of the time, you'll literally limit access to your house to the roof. Since there are few ways this could open that do require mental faculties, they won't be able to enter, and that's before they even consider the fact that they would have to come look for you off the cliff in the first place. Number 5. If you'd rather have a more simple and secure building, all you have to do is follow in the footsteps of those who came before you in trying to prevent disaster by building yourself a concrete bunker. But don't just build any old bunker, make sure it's made of solid concrete so that it can withstand anything. You've probably heard that when you build an underground concrete bunker, you can protect your family and loved ones in the event of a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack. In fact, when you think about it, all three of those scenarios could also involve a zombie attack. The best part is that, should you really want to do this, you won't have to travel to a remote location, which would be a bad idea because that would require you to drive to your designated bunker in order to be safe. So, save yourself the stress and hassle, and just install it in your backyard. As for why concrete, well, it's because it's as solid, if not more so, than rock. In addition, this type of hard surface won't be simple to manipulate. It can be built to last a long time if done correctly, and you'll be safe inside its walls from both zombies and humans trying to steal your belongings. It can also be made to any size you want, which is another benefit. The best part is that you can actually hire someone to build the bunker for you. Number 4. What is the Earth Station at Jamesburg? As you can see, in its heyday, this ComSat road structure played a crucial role in the lives of citizens. Built in 1968 by the Communications Satellite Corporation, it is essentially a satellite relay base designed to withstand nuclear attacks. This makes it another Cold War relic that you might want to look for in the event of a zombie apocalypse if you need safety. The Jamesburg Earth Station and almost a dozen others like it contributed to the first televised images of President Richard M. Nixon in Beijing and Neil Armstrong on the moon being shown in American living rooms. It also brought in signals from satellites in geostationary orbit, making international phone calls quick and simple for the majority of Americans. Why am I bringing this up now? Because of the rapid advancement of technology, these enormous satellite stations were no longer particularly necessary. As a result, a millionaire purchased them, converted them into the ultimate man cave, and later put them back on the market. Although this location is remote, it does have power, and because of its purpose, it can be helpful in connecting with others who are looking for other survivors. You could also live comfortably here thanks to the ample space, which is something you'll definitely want given the abundance of zombies. Number 3. I'll admit that this one is a little out there, but since we're talking about the zombie apocalypse, it's still a really smart idea if executed correctly. The goal of the Urban Vertical Forest Project is to try and not only expand human living space in specific ways, but also reconnect humanity with nature, something that many cities sadly lack. As you can see, these vertical forests are quite tall, which could be very beneficial for those looking for a safe place to live. However, it should be noted that because these vertical forests are located in cities, living there could expose you to a high risk of zombie outbreaks, as the area may become overrun by renegade zombies. On the other hand, if you were to live here after the outbreak and were able to evaluate every floor and room, you would at least have a chance of having a decent place to live. But keep in mind that zombies lack high motor skills, so even simple things like stairs would be challenging for them. If you could barricade the area to prevent access and then reach the upper floors, you could probably live fairly comfortably and ensure your survival until you had to relocate again. Plus, look at all that greenery. Number 2. The Winding Tower, also referred to as the Anti-Zombie Fortress Online, is a unique location in Japan. It is housed inside a public park and is easily accessible to all people, including explorers. Apparently, this vertical structure, which is standing at a respectable 47.65 meters above ground level, used a winding mechanism to bring up coal from the 430-meter deep shaft below. The former Shine Coal Mine Shaft Tower, as it is officially known, is made of reinforced concrete, making it a very strong structure regardless of one's perspective. While a standard fence isn't the best defense against zombies, as shown by a number of television shows, including The Walking Dead, the real catch is that they can get up to the tower itself. Now, true humans would have some difficulty, but the winding tower was designed to get cold, so people had to go get the coal. This meant that there were multiple levels where people could live, survive, and engage in other activities. You could also repel a zombie attack. Number 1. The St. Lawrence River, which rises from the northeast corner of Lake Ontario, forms the border between Canada and the United States, and the Thousand Islands are an archipelago of 1,864 islands in North America. Why is this a good area to try to survive the zombie apocalypse? The islands range in size from over 40 square miles to tiny islands that are inhabited by a solitary dwelling to uninhabited outcroppings of rocks. It's easy, you're surrounded by water thanks to the river, and there are lots of islands to try and settle on. If you're lucky, one of the existing homes that just so happens to belong to someone who was transformed into a zombie somewhere else, so they are unable to return. It might be dark, but come on, folks, it's the end of the world. Since you're on a river, you'll probably have access to boats that will enable you to land on different locations where you can keep an eye on the movements of the local horde and make sure you don't head off to a terrible place. What are you going to do? Reject a free home? In the world of zombies, adaptability is a must, and having a number of islands you can visit and simply survive on is a good option. Yes, there are larger islands that can be landed on, but those that are connected to two countries with an abundance of supplies are considerably rarer. That's all from the world of zombie-proof housing. Which of these houses would you personally want to live in if the zombie apocalypse does come? Which ones do you honestly think would survive the longest, given how things turn out? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out the other awesome stuff that is on our channel. See you next time.